All right, so this is called completing the square. Now, we have learned a couple different ways to solve quadratics. What does it mean when we're talking about solving a quadratic? Finding the x. X what? Kind of finding the x intercepts, right? Where the graph crosses the x-axis, okay? We learned how to do it when we were finding square roots, right? Okay, and we've done it by factoring, correct? All right, so this is kind of one of the ways that we can do it when we can't factor it. All right, so who remembers if I have x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, if I'm going to factor this, okay, my factors are going to be what and what? X and 5 and 5, right? And they're both pluses, right? Okay, so it would be x plus 5 squared. The whole goal today is to be able to rearrange our equations so that we can find this perfect square. Then move over one. All right, so we've got x squared minus 16x plus c. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to find what c would be in order to make this a perfect square trinomial. Okay, and how we're going to find c is we're going to use this formula. We're going to take b divided by 2, and we're going to square it. Okay, so in this case, what is my b? Ooh, what is my b? Negative 16, so we're going to take negative 16 divided by 2, which is negative 8, and then we are going to square it. So negative 16 is negative 8, and then we're going to square it, and we're going to c has to be 64. Okay, some people aren't writing this down. Not sure why. Okay, because now if I have x squared minus 16x plus 64, okay, and I want to factor this, what are my two factors? Yeah, x minus 8 and x minus 8, right, which is x minus 8 squared. I'm going to give you a clue. This number is always going to match this number. Dylan. From our formula. It's b. Okay, so our formula to find c is that c equals b divided by 2 squared. Okay? Not yet. Nope, this is just how to find c. All right, so, okay, let's find what c is going to be here. So remember that c equals b divided by 2 squared. So what is my b? 20. And we got to take 20 divided by 2 and square it. So 20 divided by 2 is, and 10 squared is, so c equals 100. Okay, this guy, what's my b? So negative 5 divided by 2 squared. And we're going to let you have this as a decimal. So some of you aren't punching buttons on your calculator and participating. All right, so make sure that you take negative 5 divided by 2, hit enter, and then square it. All right, this is where you have to be very careful and you have to use your brain. Your calculator says that it's what? Does it say negative 6.25 or positive 6.25? Does it? Sweet. So C equals 6.25. Okay, did you square it though? Huh? No. Anytime you square a number, you are going to get a positive. Okay? Very, 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 very important again. Okay? Anytime you square a number, you get a positive. Okay? So over here, we've got C equals, what is my B? So negative 4 divided by 2 squared. So C equals, what's negative 2 divided by 2? Just kidding, negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2, and negative 2 squared is 4. So in this case, my C is 4. That's cool. All right. So now that we know how to find C, we have some more things that we are going to have to do. Okay? I would write this list of things probably on that opposite side because you're going to want the steps. The steps are going to be very important. I think 4, but I'm not positive. All right. So, step number 1 is we are going to move the C that we have to the opposite side of the equal sign. Okay, get these steps down, write these steps down. Okay, so I have x squared minus 14x plus 16. What do I have to move to the other side? Which is 16. So how do I move a positive 16 to the other side? I'm going to subtract it. Now, when you subtract it and you rewrite it, we're going to leave a blank because we're going to go x squared minus 14x, leave a blank, equals, and if I'm subtracting my 16, I get negative 16. So leave a blank there. Okay, step number 2. We are going to find b divided by 2 squared. Okay, once we find it, we are going to add it to both sides. So find b divided by 2 squared and add it to both sides. Yep, sorry. Find b divided by 2 squared and add it to both sides. Is that written in your notes? All right, I'm just looking out for you. Got it? All right. So, what is my b? So negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Squared is 49. So what do we have to do with that 49? We're going to add it to both sides. So in this blank that you just left, you're going to go plus 49. And over here, you're going plus 49. Okay. Step 3. Innocent, you getting these steps down? Step 3 is factor the left side. Factor the left side. Okay, so if I factor this guy, I'm going to get x minus 7 squared. Notice how over here we had negative 7 squared. Okay, it's always going to be this number. Okay, so if I have 49, we've got x minus 7 squared. Does everyone understand where we got that? Okay, because how do I factor this, Dylan? What times what gives us 49? Yep, and does negative 7 plus negative 7 give us 14? Yes. Okay, so that's how we get that. Okay, and this number should match that number. Okay, so x minus 7 squared equals, what do we get over here? Yeah. I was just making sure. We took negative 16 plus 49. That's what it says to do on that side, right? Okay, do you have these steps written down in order like this? Okay. Can you see your brain when you roll your eyes like that? All right, step 4. How do I get rid of a squared? What's the opposite of squaring something? Taking the square root, yes. So we're going to take the square root. Remember that that's this guy. Of both sides. Okay? When I square root, listen, remember when we had x squared equals 49. Okay? X equaled 7 and x equaled negative 7. So you're going to get 2 equations. So make a little note to yourself that there's going to be 2 equations. Okay? So when we write these equations, so we're going to take square root of this and square root of that, right? All right, listen, before you start punching stuff into your calculator, the square root of x minus 7 squared is just x minus 7. Okay, so it's x minus 7 equals, what is the square root of 33? Come on. Okay, 5.74, or x minus 7 equals negative 5.74. Okay, in our last step, anybody tell me what the last step's going to be? What? Last step is solve both equations. Last step is solve both equations. So what do I have to do to solve this equation? Add 7 to both sides. X equals 12.74. Okay. Add 7 to this side, we get 1.26. And those are our 2 answers. Huh? You have to get 2 answers. You're going to have two equations. You have to have two answers. Okay? Comprende? All right, we definitely need to do a few more. Whew! All right. Innocent, tell me what step 1 is. Move C to the opposite side. So in this deal, what is my C? 15. So we've got to move our 15 to that side. So I have x squared plus 9x, leave a blank, equals what? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to subtract that, huh? Equals negative 15. Good call. Okay, Alyssa, what's step 2? All right, so my B is 9. Divided by 2 is 4.5. So 4.5 squared, 20.25. Guys, make sure that you are punching this stuff into your calculator as well. So plus 20.25 in our blank, and plus 20.25 on the other side. Okay, so you've got to add that to both sides of your equal sign. Okay, so now what's my third step, Alex? Third step. Factor the left side. Now here's the deal. Some of you are going to skip steps, and that's where things are going to get craziness. And you're going to be like, I don't know what I did wrong. You skipped a step. Okay, so our step on here, and this is why we talked about what this number is most likely going to be, because this is a decimal, right? And so we want to figure out what times what gives me 20.25. Where did I say I'm going to find that number, Dylan? No, it's just this number. It's b divided by 2, right? Okay, so it's going to be x plus, what was b divided by 2? So it's going to be x plus 4.5 squared. Do you already have that written down? Equals okay, 5.25. Because we got to do that on that side. Questions so far? Are you sure? Do we know where this number is coming from? What is this number going to be? B divided by 2. Yes. Okay. So, my fourth step, Amber, is what? Step 4. Don't you have it written it down? Of you're right, but I think you missed part of it. Take the square root of both sides and you're going to get two equations. If you don't have that whole thing as step 4, get it down. If I'm moving too fast off that slide, you just got to tell me to slow down. Those of you that are waiting me to flip, maybe you should be trying to take the square root of both sides. Oops, this way. Okay. How many equations am I going to get? 2 equations. So if I'm square rooting both sides, I get x plus 4.5 equals, no, square root. You got to take the square root of both sides. 2 point what? 29. And what's my other equation? Okay, but what's my other equation? X plus 4.5 equals negative 2.29. Okay, Adrian, what's my last step? We got two equations. Solve them both, yep. So how do I solve this? Subtract it. They're adding, yep. So minus 4.5 minus 4.5, x equals negative 2.28. Oh, 21. All right, over here we're subtracting 4.5. X equals negative 6.79. Notice how we're not getting two of the same answer. Notice how we're not getting like negative 7 and positive 7. Okay, we're getting two very distinctly separate answers, right? Okay, so you actually have to solve both. You can't just get negative 2.21 and assume you're going to get positive 2.21. Does that make sense? All right, this guy. If you look at this guy, what's different about him? They already put C for you on the first. So step 1 is move C to the other side, right? Step 1's already done for you. Sweet. Okay, we're done with step 1. Now, I'm going to rewrite it with that blank. So r squared minus 4r, leave that blank, equals 30. Okay, step 2, Ian? All right, so what's B? Okay, so negative 4 divided by 2, which is, all right, and negative 2 squared is 4. So what am I going to do with that 4? Add it to both sides. So plus 4 and plus 4. With me so far? All right. So now, what are we on? Step 3? All right, what's step 3, Violet? Factor the left side. Dylan, give me what my factor of the left side is going to look like. Careful. There you go. Yes, equals what? 34. Why was it minus 2 this time? Because it's a minus 4 in there, but also look at what we got when we took b divided by 2. We got a negative 2. So that tells us that it's going to be a minus 2. If I have a positive 2, then it would be a plus 2. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. Well, oh, yeah, you're right. Probably should be an R. I wouldn't mark you off on that because we've dealt so much with X's. All right, so Innocent, what's my next step? Huh? You tell me. We just factored both sides, or we factored the left side. We're going to take the square root of both sides. How many equations am I going to get? 2. All right, so we're square rooting this, square rooting this. When I square root this, what do I get on the left side? R minus 2 equals, oh, somebody's quick on the draw, 5.83. R minus 2 equals negative 5.83. My last step, Arta? Solve both equations. So what do I have to do to solve both equations, guys? Add my 2. So add 2, add 2. This one, my R equals 7.83. This time I add 2, R equals negative 3.83. Holy buckets.